The call for help was weak, broken, and full of fear. It came from a small planet under attack, begging anyone to respond. Dozens of advanced species heard it, but turned away, too afraid to challenge the great empire, except one. Humanity heard the message and remembered what it felt like to be ignored. They did not send diplomats. They did not send aid ships. They sent war, silent, fast, and final. No warning, no mercy. The galaxy had forgotten Earth's power. But Earth hadn't, and now, the stars would burn with the answer humanity gave: total and unstoppable annihilation. The Empire, proud and unchallenged for centuries, viewed the distress signal as routine cleanup, a minor planetary rebellion easily crushed. Their warships descended upon the colony of Valari Prime like steel locusts, torching cities and silencing protests with precision orbital strikes. Resistance was met with laughter, but something strange began to ripple through the ranks. An outpost on the edge of the system went dark, no explosion, no signal, just silence. Then another. Surveillance feeds flickered with static, and drones stopped responding. Elite scouts sent to investigate returned with eyes wide and trembling hands, whispering only, "They're already here." Reports spoke of ships that didn't match any known signature, weapons that melted armor without sound, and soldiers that moved through fire like ghosts. Still, the Empire refused to believe. To them, humanity was a forgotten race, primitive, emotional, scattered. But then came the broadcast, beamed across all Imperial channels. You ignored their cry, now hear ours. And across the stars, somewhere deep in the shadows, a countdown began. The Empire's fleet assembled at the edge of Valari Prime, ready to overwhelm whatever mysterious force had dared to interfere. Admirals barked orders, data screens lit up, and orbital cannons hummed to life, until a single human warship blinked into existence in the middle of the formation. It did not match any blueprint in the Empire's archives. Its hull was black, as deep space with edges that shimmered like refracted light. Before the Empire could react, it moved impossibly fast. One battleship was sliced in half by a beam that made no sound, only light. Another vanished entirely, as if erased from time. Panic spread. The human ship didn't broadcast demands. It didn't hail. It simply acted, cold and efficient, with mathematical violence. But the true twist wasn't just the ship's power, it was the fact that this was no military vessel. It was a civilian retrofitted transport, stripped down and enhanced by human engineers who had nothing left to lose. The Empire realized too late that if this was what humanity sent first, it wasn't an attack. It was a warning. The Empire scrambled. Protocols activated across dozens of star systems. Drones, cruisers, war beasts, and orbital firewalls were launched in synchronized waves, designed to adapt in real time to threats. They had crushed rebellions, silenced rogue AI, and dismantled planets that dared resist, but none of it mattered now. The human ship didn't just survive their countermeasures, it learned. Within hours, it had rewritten its own responses, bypassed their algorithms, and turned their command frequencies into open broadcasts of their own tactical failures. A second human vessel arrived, larger, slower, but covered in armor plating salvaged from a dozen alien species. It bore no insignia, no colors, no mercy. Human engineers had turned scrap and desperation into something lethal. Each movement was precise, each strike delivered with devastating purpose. And then came the worst part, the broadcasts. The humans had been silent before. Now they spoke, not threats, lessons. Cold, factual commentary on why every defense had failed, delivered. In calm voices as if teaching a child. The Empire, long convinced of its superiority, realized too late that humanity didn't just fight wars. They studied them. They refined them. And when the time came, they perfected them. The Empire thought they had seen the full scope of human Fury, but that belief shattered when the stars themselves turned against them. What they mistook for background radiation patterns began to pulse in deliberate rhythms. Hidden in the void between systems, human stealth satellites activated, thousands of them, forming a network that blinked into coordinated life. From the heart of the disruption came the third human ship. It wasn't large, it wasn't fast, it didn't even fire a weapon. It simply spoke. The voice was synthetic, precise, and impossible to block. This is a consequence, not a declaration. With those words, every Imperial archive, every tactical AI, every encrypted defense relay was simultaneously overwritten. Human code, simple, elegant, terrifyingly efficient, slid through the Empire's systems like a whisper through fog. Entire fleets turned blind. Command stations lost atmospheric control, and planetary shields opened like petals to a burning sun. The humans hadn't just built machines. They had trained minds, quiet ones, in the dark, who saw code like poetry and wrote apocalypse in lines of logic. The Empire, drowning in the silence of its own stunned disbelief, could only watch as its invincibility dissolved line by line, command by command. And still, the humans came. Not with armies, with ideas sharper than war. The final blow wasn't fire or fury, it was precision. As the Empire's last dreadnoughts formed their defensive arc above the capital world, bracing for a direct assault, the human fleet vanished from sensors. No warp signatures, no engine trails, nothing. Then space tore. Not with noise, but with absence. A quiet flicker, and suddenly the sky above the Imperial throne burned not from bombardment, but from a system-wide shutdown. Human warships didn't appear, they unfolded. Massive hulls, blacker than the void, emerged from cloaked dimensions with mathematical certainty. They moved like chess pieces on a board, only they could see, each strike calculated, not emotional. One by one, the Empire's greatest constructs went dark, disabled, not destroyed, as if humanity was sparing even the machines the shame of failure. But what followed shattered any remaining arrogance. A broadcast, clear and piercing, echoed across every frequency. Your cries were heard. You asked for peace. You built for domination. Now you will learn consequence. With that, the Imperial Palace imploded, not from outside force, but from within, its internal systems betrayed by their own corrupted protocols. It wasn't just a victory. It was a lesson etched into history, a demonstration that when humanity answers a call, it does so with unstoppable resolve. The stars burned quieter in the aftermath. The once mighty Empire, stretched across 1,000 systems, lay silent, its fleets dismantled, its command structures dissolved, its arrogance scattered. Like dust on solar winds. On ruined worlds and broken stations, alien survivors stood in uneasy silence, staring at skies that had once been theirs alone. In the quiet hum of rebuilding, a question passed from mind to mind. Who were these humans, really? They did not stay to rule. They offered no terms of surrender. They simply left, leaving behind only a message carved into the fabric of spacetime on the Empire's former capital. Let this be the last time mercy goes unanswered. The empires of the galaxy, old and new, studied the events not as war, but as warning. Libraries whispered about the day humanity rose not as conquerors, but as consequence. And somewhere on a distant world, a child looked to the stars and asked their teacher, "Is it true they came from a place called Earth?" The teacher nodded, solemn and proud. Yes, and that is why we remember, because when humans are called, they do not answer with silence, they answer with fire. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share. For more HFY legends and tales of humanity's power among the stars, subscribe and stay tuned for the next story. The code was unbreakable until a human hacked it in seconds.